Which one are we gonna start with today? I'm gonna pick this one.
I'm probably not gonna be able to hear this bitch again.
Oh, you don't hear that right now?
I never hear that whole, bro. Me and Trey, neither of us could hear it. And I finally went on the episode there.
I still don't hear it. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. There's music on the episode, Trey, but it don't play for us.
I swear, I was asking about what took so long.
Yeah, I was tripping.
Yo, what up? We back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast. Back with another crash course. Alien 3. We in this bitch. I am Black Ass Roots. Who the fuck else here?
Hey, man. It's me, the main character. Any of y'all want to go watch SummerSlam, go do it. I didn't do it, but there's probably something you'll think is kind of cool.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit was lit.
Yeah, it's OG Trey, man. King Crash out here for another crash course. Let's get to it.
Somebody tried to tell me that you gave yourself that title.
I really responded to that shit. That was cap. I did not start calling myself that.
I wasn't sure I believed it either. That's why I asked, and the motherfucker didn't respond to me.
I didn't even use that term crash. I don't even use that term. Like Pujols was the first one to say it. Like that nigga Trey be crashing out in this house. And then kind of evolved from there, but go ahead though.
So basically what you're saying is, especially if the person hypothetically is known to proclaim to never lie about anything, if they were to make that statement of you giving yourself the crash out king name, what would you call that person?
That question was kind of convoluted. I'm not even sure what I'm answering.
The answer
anymore.
is probably a slur.
Probably not. If someone says they don't never lie and that statement is a lie, would you call them a liar?
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's some, how many grains of sand does it take to turn into a mountain or type shit? If you put one piece of grain of sand, like one grain of sand at a time, when does it become a mountain? And there's one grain of sand the difference between a mountain and not a mountain.
1,028,512.
I don't think that's enough because I think we underestimate how small a grain of sand is. Like a million grains of sand might fill a shoe.
You might have just named a pile of sand in your hand.
That's what I'm saying. Like a million grains of sand might only accompany like a fucking a controller case or some shit. I don't know. The first thing I saw. Anyway. If you're watching live, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in live. If you are now watching this for the first time on VOD, make sure you go back and watch our recaps of Alien 1 and 2 before you check this one out.
There's a cash giveaway at 300 subscribers, but you got to go back and watch the motherfuckers episode and tell us what Lino had as a pet.
That is also correct. There is a cash giveaway at 300 subscribers. Apparently, the criteria for subscriptions has changed. It used to be you had to watch the Strange Things About the Johnson episode. However, I will amend that to allow the motherfuckers episode to be the prerequisite to being a part of that subscription and that sweepstakes. Again, cash giveaway at 300 subs. So tell a friend to tune in to the Real Rap Coalition. We about to get into it.
Yeah. So KTL, you do a pretty good job of these summaries of these movies. So
I don't think he does, so I'm gonna go ahead and get right to it.
Buddy, hold me. I'm about to take these 1 million grains of sand and throw them right in your eyeball.
Man, I couldn't help it. So here we are, Alien 3.
I'm taking a drink of a glass of milk.
He was getting ready to give the best summary he could.
Oh man, I was like, oh man, I'm finally being recognized for my unique talents. That boy
Trey with the steel chair.
Facts. Swaggy P this shit. But we're gonna jump into it, man. Alien 3 Essentially, it kicks off immediately after the events of Alien 2. If you haven't seen Alien 2, like I said, go check out our podcast or watch the movie. I recommend the podcast, though. So it picks up immediately after the actions of Alien 2, and we see the Suluco, I believe it's called Suluco, whatever their fucking escape pod ship was, is now crash landing onto a planet. And I mean, that shit hits like a fucking brick. And we see
Would
our
you say
star
that they were
character,
on a crash course?
Fire. You're a battle rap.
Yep.
I expect you to be able to do that.
Okay.
Real battle rap brains in the building. A crash course of a crash course, my man. So yeah, it's exactly that. They crash land on this planet where the only occupants of said planet are convicts or ex-cons from previously violent offenses who have essentially found God, or like they're no longer in prison, but they're like ex-cons for violent crimes. So that's about it. So they crash here, and our star character of the show, Ripley, what's her first name? Ellen?
Ellen.
Yeah. Ellen
That's
Ripley
ass.
is awoken by what's Doctor's name? Gordon? Doctor, what's
I
the
forgot he died like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
doctor in the fucking prison, or whatever you want to call it, he wakes Ripley up and informs her that she is the lone survivor of said crash, and the crash was carrying four of them: the robot Bishop, Hicks, the guy from the previous movie, and then the little girl Newt that she had taken a motherly attachment to. So again, she's woken up in the infirmary and informed that there were no survivors. But I do want to, because before I go too far, we had a quick little view when the pod was going crash land that a face hugger had wrapped itself around the faces of one of the passengers, right? So
yeah.
again, if you didn't see Alien 2, you don't know how big of a deal that is, but just to let you know, it's a big fucking deal because, again, they thought they had beaten the aliens. They thought they got away clean, and it turns out that another stowaway fucking alien, which is plot armor for the aliens at this point,
Laying down
has
and
made
face fuck some shit.
and it's face fucking a cryogenically sleep motherfucker, which is fucking crazy because how do you do that?
It's,
Might
it's
have been a kid.
which
I don't know.
which one you think is worse on the things of just really fucked up shit
Please don't say what you finna say.
to have a face hugger like attach itself while you're still alive, or to wake up and find out that your face got fucked by a face
It is
hugger
very
while you was
clearly
asleep?
the second one, and it is not close.
Explain.
Because the first one, you out your misery pretty soon, honestly. Like, motherfucking these people that get like smoked by face huggers whenever they're alive and shit, they end up getting shipped off pretty shortly after. Whether it be that they get killed by an alien or a baby alien pop out their chest, you wake up and find out that you have been essentially molested by a fucking
Alien being.
extraterrestrial, and now you have to live with this ticking time bomb within you. That is absolutely horrible. It's like it's kind of like when motherfuckers say like, "What would you do if you knew the moment you were going to die and shit?" You know what I'm saying? Like it's like having cancer. You're on a clock now. Congratulations, dickhead, and you got violated.
Okay, so I have one question that's going to determine how I feel about answering this.
All right.
Is the face hugger still attached to me when I wake up, or am I just being told about it?
You're being told about it. Like you have evidence that you see that you were violated.
Okay, cool. Give me that one, right? Because here's the thing. If I wake up and find out that I've been asleep for, I don't even if it was like from Ripley from 1 to 2 and she was asleep for 50 years, I would rather wake up and know that bitch was fucking for 50 years, but I didn't know it, than to actually be actively getting fucked and I'm conscious. You feel me? Like, like honestly, like pause if this is, it is necessary, pause. Like if you knew that motherfuckers was finna rape you, like do you want to be unconscious or awake? Like, I would rather be unconscious and not know it's happening. Like, those face huggers be on niggas' ass and niggas know it. Like, I don't want to be getting fucking face fucked and I know it's happening to me. Wake up and tell you, like, yeah, them niggas was doing you crazy for 50 years. I don't know that, though. Like, I wasn't there for it.
Nigga about to drown himself in alcohol for the rest of his life.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I wasn't there for none of that shit.
Bitch.
The problem that I have with that shit is like, the more accurate analogy would be like you got, raped for 50 years while you was asleep, and now you pregnant with a baby that's gonna kill you here in like a day or two.
Well, the problem is you getting pregnant regardless.
You a man.
Nobody who was getting
Yeah, but at
face
least
fucked
it's
away
overweight.
didn't get pregnant.
Yo, that is like
And
a
some fertile
man
aliens.
being we were not supposed to be saying that word, but a man being sexually assaulted is already a form of taking away his
What were
man.
He
we
said
not
we not
supposed to
supposed to
say?
be saying that word. It took me a
Man?
second. I didn't know which one he was
Nah.
talking about.
Right, you can't say
understand.
man.
Nah,
The
rape.
R word.
We're 10 minutes.
Rape?
into it. Yeah.
Fuck you mean we can't say
I'm
rape?
about to say, do you know who you're
It's
Why?
talking to? Ruth?
YouTube guideline shit.
Oh, the fuck is this TikTok? Man, I can say rape on. You fucking crazy.
But
Rape ain't
like I
even
said,
real. What are you talking about?
I knew it was coming.
All right, all right, I won't do it.
I'm about to say, an egg getting up in your chest. I bet you ain't saying it.
Hey man, tell the Xenomorph
But-
I'm outside.
No alien. Ain't no alien raped me. I was going.
That's a
That
fact.
going is crazy.
Think about it. Think about how the first nigga got face fucked. He asked for it. He put his face right there to be fucked. That ain't rape. You signed up. You say, hey, pop out. And sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas. So, I mean, just kind of getting back to it before we get way too off track. Again, we don't necessarily have to go order. Speaking of gang rape,
Sounds
there's
like
actually
sounds like somebody who's asked at giving plot exposition roots.
all I'm saying is, speaking of gang rape, there's a scene in this movie where we almost witnessed such an act.
Yeah, nah,
So-
that shit was crazy.
Keep in mind, if you don't know, Ripley is a woman, and she crash lands on a.
You can't tell by this bald-headed scallywag on the front, man.
She had to try and fit in. Too much more long hair, she would have been getting fucked on. I ain't gonna lie to you. She had to blend in. Them niggas was going early. So
Shit, clearly it didn't matter because of what you about to talk about.
That bitch
Yeah.
wearing a baggy sweater to hide half a titty.
yeah, that shit. Hey, Rip, come on, man. We gotta talk about her body is ass. I mean, it's not even ass, but like, I ain't
It's just nothing there, bro. It's
Come
like
on,
it's
man.
nothing to
He
really
is not
look
a
at.
sex appeal character.
in '79, that shit was kind of decent. By '92, you gotta put some titties on it or something. By now, like, what are you doing?
And
You made
titty
three
in place
movies.
was definitely a thing by that time.
I'm about to say,
So I
you
don't know
made
what
millions.
she was
I
doing.
promise you made millions off these hoes.
Man, she had enough to buy a bigger titty. Like, she could at least went to a B.
One
All right,
titty.
All right, you know what? I'm a chill out.
No, what was you about to say? Please tell me what you was about to say.
I have
Oh, he
nothing.
begging.
I have nothing. I don't even want to go into this. All I'm saying is, I see bitches that stay down the street from me in Section 8 with BBLs. I know Sigourney Weaver by Alien 3 could have afforded both titties. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I thought, I mean, we got off to a pretty interesting story, and I think that if nothing else, the Alien series has done a good job of not making the same movie twice. Right. I think that's definitely the standout thing so far in this segment. And like KTL did a pretty good job of summarizing last episode, was that the first movie is more of like a horror film where like we are in a confined space with this unknown creature. We have no idea what's going on. It's more of a horror, more of a sci-fi thing, more of a like, you know, like we have like it's meant to instill fear. Whereas the second movie is more like action packed. It's like we're not really running from it; we're running towards it. We're trying to go from being the hunted to the hunter.
Smoke that bitch.
And then we have like much different personalities about it. We have a little bit more education about it, and we're aggressive. It's a totally different concept. Whereas this time around, you still have the immediate, I won't say immediate, but the initial skepticism as far as how believable her story is, because again, she's the only survivor, which I thought sucked because that was one of the things I liked about the previous movie's ending. Exactly. Yep. Especially when you talk about how important they were to the plot of the second movie, right? Especially Newt. Newt was extremely important to the second movie. The whole second half of Aliens was essentially Sigourney Weaver's character, because I couldn't think of the name that quick, was essentially Ripley fighting off the Queen to save Newt. That was like the whole plot of the last hour, right? And all for Newt to die and die off screen, that's ass.
Die off screen during the opening credits.
Oh my god, that sucked, and that's going to come into my rating later because she was far too important a character to die off screen. She was literally the motivation for the second half of the plot in the second movie.
Trey,
niggas walked in to pitch this movie and said, "Hey, remember all that shit we built in the second one? Yeah, fuck all that. We're gonna stop."
Literally,
the entirety of this, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this just feels like a slightly different version of the first movie. I'm not
I
gonna
was gonna
lie.
say that. I was gonna say that. I
Like
was gonna say
this,
what makes it. I guess what makes it different this time is again Ripley has extensive knowledge, and then we get like a kind of a different alien too, right? Because it possesses a canine in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't pop out. The alien that's hunting them doesn't pop out as humanoid as the previous ones, right? So this
Mhm.
time they're getting chased by like a four-legged alien, or at least, well, yeah, it's kind of what quadrupedal, right? So like they're getting chased by like a four-legged alien that's kind of using more senses, and we kind of get a POV of the alien a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
So like we can actually see what the alien is seeing as it's like scurrying through the prison system and all that type of shit. So I thought that was unique. But again, I think it's still not really as fear-inducing as the first one was. I think the first one had a lot of jump scares, a lot of like ominous moments, like where this is meant to be fear-inducing. Whereas this one is kind of like we know what the alien is, we know what it does. We kind of
You
got
know what
a
that nigga on.
general, yeah, we got a general consensus, and it's kind of more about. I think I mean, obviously they needed to set it up, and I'll throw this in later because I went to watch a couple of interviews and things like that. But there was kind of like a farewell tour for Ripley, right? We kind of knew what was coming, and like I think they kind of fed into that plot a little bit, which is, and then I won't jump too much, but this is kind of where like the second queen comes in. But I'll let one of y'all kind of take over from here. But I thought that was they did a good job of not making the same movie. Yeah.
So I agree with all of that. However, they did that bullshit again with these motherfucking aliens and how they look, bro. Like it's way too much of human movements. Like
it was
you
fucking
can,
horrible. It was
bro.
fucking garbage. Like I got to
The
see,
one, hold on,
man.
the one where the dude is climbing up the ladder and shit, and then ends up face to face with the fucking xenomorph, and literally like, hey, here's my arms. I'm gonna grab you now. Like it looked bad, bro. Like it's clearly a motherfucker with an alien helmet on.
There were a couple of times in this movie where they just did like regular shots of the alien where somebody in a suit, and like visual effects, and those were pretty all right. They were pretty decent. Every time I had to watch that little CGI fucking golem scurry across my screen,
Oh
Quinn,
my
that
Terrible.
goodness.
shit was absolute fucking dog water, and they did it so many times, dog. Like the majority, I'll say 75% of the time that you see the alien in this movie, it is it moving by some computer animated bullshit. And that shit with just like a long little wispy tail. He's fucking Nightcrawler without eyes and a big fucking head, bro. Like
Bro,
this thing looks so ass, bro. And I'm
it
like, is
was
this what it's because it possessed a dog? Like,
yeah, it was like it was
What's
one
them
scene
cat?
where like he had one
What's
of them
them
niggas on the
cats that
ground in like
don't
the
have fur?
hallway, and he literally was just dry humping that nigga. I'm like, this
Yeah, that
is
shit look
come
fucking
on,
weird.
ass.
bro.
Like
Like,
this
They
shit
did
is
that shit.
ass.
They did that shit a couple of times actually.
Oh,
They
that
did that
shit
shit
is
a couple of
ass.
times. Just don't look good.
like
What's that?
that.
What's that? What's the cat without fur? It doesn't have like a specific
A
name,
Siamese
but
cat.
bro, the shit looked like a Siamese cat with a longer tail and an alien helmet on.
So can I ask you a question, Ruth? Because you said
Mm,
this a couple of times, and I really want to know like how you feel, right?
mm.
So you have an issue with the aliens essentially being a human in an alien suit with work pants on and shit, right?
Yeah.
What would you
Wasn't
prefer
that?
it be? An alien? Like how are they
Well,
supposed
see,
to
the thing,
depict it?
He said an alien.
it's about
Yeah,
so.
like it's like it's a person. Like
So look,
yeah, it is. Like, do you want it to be a xenomorph? Like, what the fuck are they
so
supposed
look,
to
so look, look,
do?
look, look,
Put it
look.
on a
So
dog.
because, and this is the difference between the second one and the first one. Because it was the
He ain't
second
like
one.
the boot.
Listen. Because of in the second one, there's so many of them, and you're seeing a lot of them at one time. Most of the movie,
Yep.
you're able to kind of hide shit amongst the chaos. It's only when they zero in on one and they have them do some type of movement that I catch.
Right.
Oh, those are clearly arms with gloves on them. So it's just about the camera work that you do, and which I know it's gonna get better. Even if the next one is still an alien,
It didn't get
a
better
nigga
here.
in an alien suit. Well, yeah, you're right. But again, they were able to hide a lot of shit with between the chaos on the second one, and with this one, it just being a singular one, and technology advanced from what was it, 86 to 92.
92.
So they were kind of testing things with the whole CGI feel. It probably looked fire as hell back in 92. I'm just saying 2024, I'm not digging on it.
Hey, that boy Trey pulled up and pressed some shit. Ruth said, "Yeah, I don't like this shit. This shit look like a regular person in a suit." Trey said, duh."
But like honestly, of course it looks like a person in a suit is a person in a fucking suit. Like it's a person in a suit as opposed to what? Putting an alien in a suit? Nigga, like how are you supposed to correct this?
Do better with your camera angles.
I feel you.
They did really good in the first one with showing flashes of the aliens fast enough for you to not be able to notice a whole lot of shit. Well, and then in the second one, when there was a couple, like when the pilot got bodied in the second one, right?
Yeah,
you could see a movement and it didn't look like just a dude in a suit.
Yeah,
I don't know. Recreate that shit somehow and just spam that. I'd much rather see the same shit over and over again and it looked better than different camera angles of some bullshit.
Let me tell y'all something, man.
Go ahead.
This movie, the last movie we had, like a part of the podcast where we were like, damn, I don't remember which, Marine that was, like which Space Marine that was and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could have been Hudson, it could have been Hicks, it could have been whoever the fuck, Gorman, whatever the fuck.
I know where you're going.
That was the entirety of this movie. All these bald white men were the same bald white man. There was one black guy, and then there was like Ripley walking around like a fucking shaved peach. You know what I'm saying? Like the rest of these white men were the same white man.
I'm gonna be honest. There are only 4 characters in this episode. There's Ripley. There's the black dude. What's his name? Dylan, I think.
Dylan.
There's the black dude. There's the doctor, and there's the alien. There are no other characters in this fucking movie. Like I agree with KTL 1,000%. There are no other characters in this movie besides Bishop, who comes as real Bishop later, but we'll get to that. But like that, I agree 1,000%. There is like the personalities of the Marines were very, very defined, right? We were able to even categorize them as almost stereotypical. So it's like we knew we had, even though we could, like, even as you just listed off their names, even if you're not able to put faces to all of them, you know that there are several different people in this cast. You had Gorman, you got Hicks, you got Vasquez, you got, you had several different military personnel and different characters with different personalities, and they all had scenes. They all had scenes where they did something worthwhile. Literally, it's 4 people in this fucking movie. It's literally the black dude, the doctor, the main character, and the fucking alien.
Trey, they had this whole movie. They had a whole fucking prison full of bald white men. They had one token black guy. They ain't have a Mexican in that prison. They ain't have an Asian in that prison. They ain't have a Middle Eastern cat in that prison. They ain't have none of that shit, boy. You just telling me all the crimes were committed by white men? Like all of them?
Well, see, you got to think, right?
Come on, bro.
This is 92. That we're not inclusive
yet. And then
yet.
one reawakened Muslim is in there trying to steer them to the right path.
Because think about what Muslim was in 92, right? Think about the ideal of Muslim in 92. Right, you could still say the word faggot in 92 and it'd be okay. Like nobody would get in trouble for that.
Say it now.
Like, well, I'm gonna say it because I'm me, but like you can't just be out and about saying shit like that. Like you used to be able to say and do like offensive and like the world was just different, right? So what I'm getting at is like they hadn't got to the part where they were including everybody yet, right? Like we just started that maybe like half a decade ago. Like maybe I'll say 2016, 2017 was when you started to see multiple races, multiple sexes, multiple like relationship or sexual orientations. Like nigga, it was all white people talking black guy. That was like 85% of movies.
This isn't even a representation issue, right? Like, because it's not like, oh, you know what I'm saying, damn, they don't have no, gay people or whatever. It's not that. It's how do you think prisons work?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
even
that's the ignorance, right? Like in '92, that's the level of like that's how it was. Like there was no inclusion. Like even though we're not talking about
to jail, that way.
Even though we're not talking about like sexual orientations and shit, like realistically, every TV show we grew up, everybody was straight. How do you think life works? Everybody's not straight for real. Now I think there's too many fucking gay people in these shows, but it's still like, no, honestly, like there's not that many fucking gay people. But it's like realistically, if I go into a room of 40 people, 5 of them are at least gay. At least 5 of them. Like all 40 of y'all being straight is fucking crazy. But like that's how it worked back then in media. Like we weren't really exploring all those realistic like, situations.
40 people, if all 40 of y'all ain't white, come on.
Exactly. In 2024, in 1992, nigga, yeah, they were.
They gave you one black guy to make you
This
feel
was a
better.
Nazi prison with a black leader. That's what this shit looked like.
Is crazy, bro.
Okay. Could you imagine if it was the other way around? Ripley lands on a planet of 39 niggas and 1 white dude. That's what y'all think prison looks like?
First of all, that's a lot more of an entertaining movie.
I guarantee that movie is the white doctor man trying to save that bitch from getting smoked the entire time, bro.
Come on, man. You got a white doctor, a white space captain, and 40 fucking nigger inmates. That shit is the most racist shit ever.
And then you kill them all off with an alien. Like,
oh my god! And the only one that survives is the token white bitch. Like, yeah, no
hell
way.
No, the token white bitch didn't even survive.
Oh yeah, she don't survive either. That shit is sickening.
Hey, Trey, that shit turns into a white savior movie at the end because the one black dude limping off, listening to the white ladies like log and shit.
That shit is ass, man. Okay, so let's get back to it. So we are at this place where, well, I did want to talk about this. Ripley does something that a lot of main characters don't do, and I really appreciate. She has common fucking sense, right? Mm-hmm. Ripley has common sense, and she displays it in every movie, almost every time she talks. From the moment she didn't want to let them back on the ship in the first Alien because of contamination possibilities, she displays common sense through and through. And I really, really appreciate that about her character and how it's written. And the reason I'm talking about that now is because when she finds out that she's the sole survivor from that crash, she immediately wants those bodies to have autopsies done on them to make sure that they're not carrying any hosts because she knows how the fucking aliens operate, right? And then upon finding out that nobody is carrying any hosts, they have those bodies cremated. That's exactly what you're supposed to do, and I really appreciate that they don't like let that type of shit like something stupid happen. And like, why wouldn't Ripley, who's been through this twice in the last 50 years, not know to do something? You know what I'm saying? So like, I love that they make her think logically and make rational. I didn't like decisions.
It, and let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because I like the part where it's logically okay. There's some shit that happened. I think there might be an alien. Let's check these motherfuckers, right? But first things first, you found out, like, you did the autopsy and whatnot and found no presence of an alien, nothing. So why are you still freaking out? Second off, I feel like they undid a lot of what I liked about Ripley's character in the last movie because she spends most of this movie just a fucking scared, timid woman. Like, she's not confident. I just watched this bitch go, up and down an elevator shaft with the queen alien with a flamethrower and a forklift suit, fighting over a little girl and shit. You know what I'm saying? And now, like, she's afraid of anything that might possibly resemble an alien. Bitch, I just seen you help kill 40, or more of them. Like, what is this? Buos literally said it. He said, "This ain't the Ripley I know," and he's right. They didn't who is this person?
Two things, right? Two things. So I think, number one, the emotional despondency is starting to create itself. One, she woke up after 50 years and found out her daughter has passed away of old age. Like, that is emotionally draining. You then go to hell and back to fight for what is now your new quote-unquote daughter, and she dies right next to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, she is turning into a different person. Also, she is, and we hadn't got to this yet, but we might as well jump into it. She is the host. She is the one who's carrying an alien, and it's not just any alien. She's carrying the queen, right? So, like, now it has gone from, like, the fearlessness of, I could die at any moment, so fuck it. I'm throwing caution to the wind, which might explain some of her decisions. Like, it's either kill you or you're going to kill me. So I have to be brave because I know what happens when people aren't brave against you, or even when they try. Like, you don't give a fuck. You're not sparing nobody. So, like, that level of adrenaline, that level of it's kill or be killed, it's going to force you into some situations. Now it's I'm carrying a queen, I'm dead anyway. Right, like I'm essentially a ticking time bomb. So now it's not like I can fight for my life anymore. I know what comes next, right? Like I'm gonna die. So it's like that might change who you are as a person, especially like in grief. Like she's like her daughter died 50 years ago. Like that's active grief, but then she had a chance to go home and process that, then come back and decide to fight for something. She fought for it, got it, and lost it again. Every time she wake up, she find out she lost everything. You know what I'm saying? Like that might start to change you after so long.
Bitch, quit going to sleep. Fuck.
At this point,
Bitch, just keep putting yourself in cryopods. Like just fade the trip out. You ain't gotta sleep. Just chill.
She went to sleep so good this time. I ain't gonna
like, come on, bro. But like my problem, Trey, is that shit with the Queen Alien didn't happen until like halfway through the movie. Bro, towards the start, she out here, freaking out and crying. She's like, please, cut the chest plate on this little girl. Find out whether there's an alien. Oh, there wasn't no alien. Now she, please, no, you don't understand. We gotta burn these bodies.
Before you do that,
and this and that. Like, bro, what?
Before you do that, with the body autopsy, right? I can understand that. This is a little girl that she's grown to love, and she lost them. Now she's watching her being like operated on as a dead body. I can understand her response in that, in which I felt like that was a very good acting moment for her.
Yeah, but I don't like that's not my problem. I don't feel like all of the emotion was in response to that. I feel like a good bit of it was just like, the fear, and I'm like, you haven't you've been reassured that there is nothing. like what the fuck are you Like you think it's still there, but until you find out that it is somewhere, once you find out where it isn't, what are you still afraid of in that area? Like
I'll tell you when she wasn't scared. She damn sure wasn't scared to get some dick.
Goodness gracious.
That bitch ran down to get some dick, bro.
Explain yourself,
that shit came out
of,
bro. So she's having a conversation with the doctor.
That was the most maniacal shit I heard.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Trey, you just talked earlier about this woman almost got gang raped, cuz. Like
I swear to God, I'm like, he didn't just say that. I couldn't even react at first. I'm like, there's no way he just said that.
He has to explain himself.
And then
bro.
Yeah, let's hear it. Because what the fuck
she
was
having that? She having a conversation with the doctor. They start asking questions at each other back and forth. They start trying to evade each other's question. And then she says something like, "How long have you been here?" or some shit. Oh no, she asked, "Do you find me attractive?" And he's like, "Attractive like what?" She says, "Attractive like that." And clearly, she's giving the eyes, what you gonna do type shit. And she gets some dick.
Okay.
Was I the only one that
yeah, I don't know which version of this movie you watched.
Having sex?
Let me go watch this.
I never saw that. I don't. Maybe I wasn't.
They didn't show the sex scene, but
no. But I don't even recall like
together?
That as a thing. I remember him telling his tragic backstory right before he hits that bitch with a needle full of cocktail.
Way before that.
And then she gets he gets smoked. That's what I recall.
Yeah, just give me the timestamp for that. I'm just gonna put it on right here while I wait, because that you're absolutely out of your fucking mind. But beside that,
which part, Trey? What the? You don't think that bitch went and caught nothing?
That shit is maniacal. You are a fucking maniac.
He said, "I'll tell you what you didn't wait for. Go get some dick."
That's
man,
what? I'm not so sure he said that because I just don't want to believe that's where he went. Like I'm not buying it.
Hey, I was talking about an autopsy on a little girl, and he said, "Yeah, but that bitch was fucking."
Like I think that's a crazier transition than speaking of being pregnant by aliens or whatever the fuck I said.
Is it crazier than speaking of getting of gang rape?
Well, no, because there is gang rape in this movie, so or it would have been, right? She was
It was
literally about
almost
2 minutes
gang
off of being gang rape. Okay, so you and this like transitioning from
Oh
a
my
fucking
lord.
pediatric autopsy to she was getting fucked on is like what did KTL say that led you to go into
No,
that? Like,
don't blame me.
because I mean, it was just y'all two talking, so I'm just trying to figure out what did he hear. Oh, it was like
All
it
right,
was.
so
She
look,
wasn't scared, right? Okay,
this is about 20 minutes into. Oh wait, I found it. All right, it's 30. Nope, 29.
don't worry.
20.
I'm literally. I got 50 seconds for this Hulu ad, and I'm gonna go right to the timestamp you tell me to
Pay
go to.
for the premium, so you don't got to get the
29:26.
ads. You
So what
feel me?
happens is
Absolutely
I
not. I
just
don't
tweeted a
remember.
little bit. So
Okay, no,
they're saying they're
don't
having some.
explain
Okay, all
nothing
right.
to me. I don't want to hear your version of it no more. You're done. Okay, I'm gonna go watch this. I'm gonna watch this myself because if I go by how you break shit down, I'm gonna lose my shit. So I'm just gonna go watch this and get my own fucking synopsis because you're out of control.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
Well,
not out
we'll
of
get.
control. I watched the
just go
fucking
to
movie.
the next part of the movie. You're
Yeah, I'm
done
about
with
to
this
say
part.
we'll come
I'll
back to this
revisit
in a
this on my
minute.
own. Yeah,
This
you.
motherfucking hey, why they was trying? Well, I know why they was trying because he was a fucking goofy. But they was in the cafeteria trying to hold that dude. That motherfucker said he was like, "What's this I'm hearing about problems?" He said, "All right, nobody else wants to say it. I'll say it. We don't want to go out with Garlic no more. He smells bad and he's crazy and he talks to himself." And that motherfucker's just looking up from his food like, "What did I do?" And the black dude trying to tell him. He says, no, he's a brother just like the rest of us. So you gonna go out there with him. You understand me? I'm like, who
Hey,
the
what
fuck
is
are
this
you
dude's
talking
name,
to?
bro? He was talking so crazy to these other inmates,
He said
bro.
the rest of us don't stink and talk to ourselves. He said, I don't want to hear that shit no more. Like,
Just shut the fuck up.
this motherfucker is a bootleg Lawrence Fishburne, dog. Like that motherfucker was channeling his inner Lawrence Fishburne this whole movie. But yeah, like I don't know. And then that dude did like some goofy ass shit. Like he was a fucking oh man, I hate him. He was a bitch. That
Why is
shit
the
like what?
Oh, there it is. Charles S. Dutton.
Yep, Charles S. Dutton.
Charles S. Dutton. He was wilding in this motherfucker, bro. He was the one that saved her from the gang rape. Just ran up with a long ass pipe. Pause. That sounds
Oh
crazy.
my god!
All right. I paused it, but yeah, he run up, beat the shit out of a couple of niggas. Yeah, I gotta reschool these brothers on the ways of the spirit or some shit. He said,
Bro, he introduced himself to that bitch as, hey, shorty, you don't want to come sit over here. I was out
he
here
said you
raping
don't
like
want
a
to be friends
motherfucker,
with
boy.
me.
Yeah, I was out here raping like a motherfucker.
Yo,
You don't
that
want to
is
sit
the
at this table,
craziest
shorty.
way to attempt to ward off women. Like
About
that's
to
the
say, and that
definition
bitch
of you scared of hoes.
I was about to say, and that bitch was sitting there like, oh yeah, I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. You gonna have to show me. Like, man, what?
You gonna have to show me in reliance to I used to rape
I
women is
know it.
crazy.
I know. That bitch wasn't like she wasn't trying to hear none of that shit. She was gonna sit down at the table and eat that fucking gruel. That's
Well,
what was finna happen.
that's where she did explain or show some fearlessness because I'm
Yeah, that's what I'm
regardless of
saying. Like she
whom,
wasn't.
if you sit down, if I go to sit down at the table and you tell me that you used to take shit, I'm getting up from the table now.
Damn, Ruth,
I
you
don't
don't
want
think you
nothing to
strong enough
do
to
with
defend your shit
anything.
from getting taken?
Nah, I just don't want to be around you now. Like I don't want to have any type of conversations with you of things that you might talk about. You might go on one of your little reminiscent paths and start talking about shit that I don't want to hear about. So I'm cool on that.
I don't know, man. These
But she said,
motherfuckers, like,
fuck that. I'm gonna sit here and eat my lunch.
that shit was sorry as fuck, man. Like I say, I feel like they took a good while to, even do anything like actiony of consequence within this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a long build. It's that 8-bar setup shit. And I feel like it is like an 8-bar setup to one of the worst punchlines I've ever heard in my fucking life.
And they
Like
stumbled through it because they kept spamming
just the
that CGI
goddamn
bullshit.
they looked at them little lemur monkey things from Madagascar. They took motion capture of them bitches, put an alien head on it, and then just sent it off to the races, bro. The whole movie, I will not let that shit go. This thing was so like I was just talking about the last like movie that they had created a sense of terror and dread with these fucking things. They ruined it with this shit, bro. They just fucked it all up. Like, oh my god.
Having 3 different versions of the same alien that you just show at just using different software tools or just a nigga in the suit is bad. That's just bad business, bro.
Like
there was a couple of times where they went straight from CGI to nigga in a suit.
Yeah, well, I gave I graded the first one on a curve because I was like, oh, they were limited with here. No, here they weren't limited. They just made a stupid fucking decision. They went down a stupid ass path. Like,
and somebody said
here,
it's gonna be fire.
3D movies hadn't gotten big then, but I promise you, this movie would have been called Alien 3D if it had come out a little bit later. They would have put some fucking glasses on you, and they would have tried to have that alien shimmy out the screen at you at one point, bro. It's that type of cheesy effects work, dog. Like, hey, Trey, you good?
Yeah.
Hey, hold on. Before you say something, were you listening to anything that just happened?
Yeah, I've been back for a good minute now.
Okay, so did you hear when Ruth said Buddy ran up with a long ass pipe and pressed some shit?
So, believe it or not, I didn't think we were going to revisit that. I let that go intentionally. We're not doing that. That's crazy. He's disgusting. So we got that part.
What is the verdict? What's the verdict on the?
His analysis of the situation could not be more accurate. So this is absolutely filthy. I don't know what I was doing when this scene occurred.
I didn't see no shit neither. I don't.
Yeah, so I don't know what I was doing at this part of the movie, but I was not watching this. And when I tell you this bitch is hunting dick, it's crazy. I'm talking about Buddy could not have been more not talking about sex, and she just he literally asked this bitch, he was like, so now that I've gone out on a limb for you and pretty much fucked up my relationship with anybody that I had credibility with, can you at least tell me what you were hoping to find when we were doing that autopsy of that little girl? Nigga, she cut him off, was like, you think I'm cute? Like the fuck? So my man's like, in what way? And she looked at him like, you know what way, nigga, I'm trying to fuck. and he was honestly taken aback, and he was like, are you very direct? She ain't say nothing else, nigga. They woke up in the bed. Like, nigga, that shit is crazy. Bro, and then the first thing he said when he wake up, and then he obviously wrecked her shit because she feeling on him while he's sleeping shit. So she in love. So he wake up and like, listen, I appreciate that pussy. He didn't say them words, but he said something that literally means this. He literally says like something that means, translated, I appreciate the sex. However, you're not finna sweet pussy your way out of my question. That's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Well, verbatim, he says, I thank you for the affection. You kind of dodged my question, though. I mean, in the most affectionate way, but still a dodge, which translates to, I was some good pussy, but I'm not about to let you sweet pussy your way out of answering my question. Bro, what was you looking for? That shit is crazy.
One thing I'll say about this movie is it's got one of the most accurate depictions of prison that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Do you know how, taken away from society and depraved the bitches you have to be to let a fucking Kiwi seduce you, bro? You out here, like, you let this goddamn dandelion sweet pussy you out of some fucking, like, direct line of questioning, all because you ain't seen no axe wound in about 7 years, bro. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Axe wound is crazy.
That shit is sick, man.
Axe wound is actually like a behemoth level.
That shit is barbaric, dog.
That is Neanderthal level.
Yeah, axe wound is actually going in like a library or something.
Would you prefer if I said hatchet wound?
No, axe wound is actually perfect. However, it was ridiculous. Like it can be both. Like two things can be true simultaneously.
Oh my!
But I did want to get back to right where you were because like damn, I forgot.
I was talking about how shitty the CGI alien was again.
Yeah. Also, not only is the CGI alien shitty, one thing I didn't really care for was how unnecessarily gory this movie was.
That was the point. I know that was the point.
I think you could tell it was because it's like scattered, like how showcasing the alien was kind of the point. It's like
Mhm.
because they did it too many times. Like it's clear that they wanted that to be talked about, which
But-
I think I get because like how you were saying before, like the alien just shows up too often. Like there was too many times where you see it. But I think it's like they're trying to get away from not ever really showing it in the first movie and then
Yeah.
showing you how different it is from the aliens in the second movie, while also trying to make that technological, advancement and showcase the new capabilities of what they've done differently from 86 to 92.
Trey, let me tell
It's
you
not
something.
just a guy in a suit anymore. Now we got a CGI computerized animated dog,
Trey, let me tell you something. I watched the first two Aliens movies in their
Mhm.
entirety. Every alien that ever was and ever would come to be within that duology, they popped out a motherfucker chest and left a big cavity wound. They popped out covered in yellow slime and shit, and then they scurry off and become grown and shit.
Mm.
Why then am I watching a fly covered dead dog carcass or whatever the fuck that was hanging up there and shit and just consistently rumbling the sloshing noises and whatnot? Then
That
it
shit was
fucking
crazy.
gives and explodes into a bunch of particles so that the alien can be born. This is not how these things are born. You're
Right.
showing me this because you want to have like, oh, this is the bloodiest version. Yeah, this is the most like gory version. It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're just being gross.
It's crazy because I remembered this part and didn't really realize what had happened before. Because when she wakes up from her little nightmare next to Buddy, it's because that fucking fan pulled dude into it and just splattered him like all over the place.
Yeah,
That shit was
literally there.
Obliterated that nigga.
Yeah, like that shit is unnecessarily gory for this movie because that didn't have anything to do with the alien. You know what I mean?
Also, I don't think a big fan would make someone explode that way.
Yeah, like on
speed.
contact. Yeah, I agree.
Also,
at that speed for sure.
At some point, like between the second and the third movie, did the alien just lose the fucking ability to have acid blood?
I was gonna talk about
the
that.
fucking thing got
that
smashed by a goddamn like whatever that thing was. You know what I'm saying? And when it was trapped in that hallway, got smashed by that shit. No acid blood. The fucking alien gets covered in hot metal and then water, which subsequently causes a thermo explosion, and it just explodes into regular blood bits. No acid burning, nothing, bro. What is this creature?
Bro, that explosion should have took out everybody in that room.
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm sorry, Trey. I'm about to let you go. Roos, I saw a motherfucker hit a alien with a bullet last time, and some blood splatter got on his arm and nearly took his shit off. You mean to tell me have you ever seen like a fucking fruit explode or something? You know what I'm saying? Like particles go everywhere. This is turning motherfuckers to Swiss cheese.
Yeah, fuck the bullet. I watched that shit drip a little bit off the first nigga face and cut through 3 metals of titanium. What are you talking about? This nigga should have been
tore up
out of
the
there.
tires on a big fucking truck.
But I'm just gonna say that they patched that shit because they had to nerf that acid blood shit. That shit was OP. So I just feel like the devs came in and patched that shit up for season 3 because there's no way they can allow that shit to keep going.
Oh, let's make it easier.
That shit crazy. I'm talking about that acid blood shit.
Acid blood is crazy.
You have to nerf it. Did you see what it was doing to niggas? Niggas was winning the fight and still losing. Like that acid blood shit is crazy. Like if I shoot you and die, like I don't think that's fair. Like I shot you in your fucking face and I lost my arm. How? No, that doesn't work like that. That shit is OP as fuck. They had to nerf them niggas. That's why I was only one. Cause no way if I kill you and your blood get on me and I die, and it was 40 of y'all, plot armor is the only reason anybody survived because there's no way you win. There's no way you win that. That shit is crazy.
That shit is sick, man. I don't know. Like I say, I don't even like the plot of this shit is just like stretched over the course of 2.5 hours. This shit, there's not very many significant plot moments. You know what I'm saying? Like Ripley finds out that she got an alien in her chest, and that defines her character for the second half of the movie. She just wanting to kill herself, but nobody will kill her. She can't die. The alien won't kill her and shit. You know that
Yeah,
that's
which I
that.
thought was ridiculous because I'm sick of Ripley's plot armor. So getting face to face with the alien and him literally like, I'm not gonna kill you. Like, ain't this a bitch? Like the one
Bro,
time you
beyond
niggas got
that.
the ups on her, like you niggas just say, well, fuck it, you're carrying my
Trey,
queen. So
beyond that, bro, I watched a motherfucker get attacked like he got a face hugger wrapped around his shit. That bitch let him go and went and scurried off into the air ducts and shit. He got up long enough to drink a cup of water and eat 2 spoonsful of mashed potatoes and then had an alien burst out his chest. I watched Ripley run around for what had to be multiple hours
Yeah.
after finding out that that bitch was in her chest. It's been days since she woke up, since that fucking thing was inside her chest.
so I was gonna mention
It
that
just won't.
later
It's just, come on, bro.
and
Go
say
Like,
ahead, Trey.
somebody needs to explain to me why the queen took so long to pop out. Like, is that some type of extra gestation period for queen xenomorphs or something? Because that is ass. Not only do those things grow up fast, they pop out quick. That first nigga woke up and it was like, oh, he's awake. And then he
10
died
minutes
30
later.
minutes later. Like, that shit was out of his chest
bro, I
in
watched
30
that
fucking
bitch at the
minutes.
last fucking. There was no way that bitch in the last movie who was in that little slime nest. There was no way she had been face huggered for very long. She woke up, said, "Kill me, please," and they torched her shit because a bug popped out of her 30 seconds later. Like,
Bro, the dog didn't even last that long in this shit, bro. The
come on,
dog
bro.
went from barking to whimpering to your chest is open now and there's an alien here.
Come on, bro. Like, what
She
are we
was
doing
able
here?
to fight off a gang rape, run
Yep.
what had to be at least 10 miles worth of running throughout this entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it finally pops out as she just so happened to be committing a fucking swanton bomb into a goddamn
I
furnace.
couldn't even I was sitting there watching for it. I couldn't even see the alien pop out on her way down. I was watching for it. I didn't even get to see it. I was like, well, because I had seen about that shit. I had to read the synopsis, bro, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on with a lot of these characters. I was like, which white guy is this again? And it literally said at the end, yeah, the alien pops out and she holds it as she falls in the thing. I'm sitting there squinting, bro, just trying to see a glimpse of an alien anything. You showed me this dog shit computer render for like 30, 40 minutes of the movie, but I can't see the little queen alien as Ripley goes ahead and commits Sudoku. Like, this shit is ass.
Saying Sudoku in place of since you put so much effort into saying Sudoku, I won't say suicide, but saying it in place of that word is
Well,
crazy.
so the joke is yeah. The joke is like when Japanese like samurai would kill themselves, it's called seppuku, and so motherfuckers be saying Sudoku and shit. Like, that's
That's
that joke
crazy.
there.
Well, my joke was just saying that I'm not going to say it while using the word to say I'm not going to say it.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
we'll keep going.
Hey, man, it's what and what, you know.
Facts.
But
So I think we are pretty much at the point where we have all, at the initial point of this podcast, decided we didn't want this episode to drag. And I think we are already, what are we approaching, an hour?
We're at
52 minutes, 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think we can kind of get to the point where we're wrapping this one up. I mean, we got most of the plot out. I mean, there are no, like you said, there's no real significant scenes. Most of the characters have their like entire motivations kind of mapped out for them in the first 30 minutes, and that's kind of how the rest of the movie goes.
Bro, it's just stupid shit. A motherfucker dropped a cigarette in a vent on some flammable shit and blew every fucking thing up, bro. That motherfucker is standing at the other end of the hallway like, wait for the signal, goddammit. What's that gonna do to stop the fire that's already coming for you, dude? Like,
that
what?
shit is ridiculous.
At the same time, there was some type of weird ass audio delay going on, or maybe that's just how they started doing movies in the 90s, where they would do the voice acting first and then lay that over the acting as they're also saying words. Because there's a few different times where I know a motherfucker said a word that I didn't hear. And that just doesn't make any goddamn. It looked like a kung fu movie half the fucking time because the fucking lip sync was off completely. But
maybe them folks really was Germans and shit. They ain't speak English. They had to dub it over.
I think it's pretty safe to say that this is the worst of the three that we've watched so far.
Oh, we're about to talk about it with the final thoughts and ratings, but boy, howdy.
Yeah. So
somebody else got to go first. I can't do it.
I'll go ahead and start now. This, like I said, is the worst movie by far. there were no, as KTL would say, there were not many redeemable characters at all.
Yeah.
You know, everything was pretty straightforward, and they were just trying to be gross. Like it didn't even have like a meaning or any significance. It didn't show any type of extra power level that the alien had. It just was on the same murderous shit, but you show the more blood you show, you think the more scared we're going to be watching it. That's not what happened, buddy. So yeah, as far as a rating, this whole, I give it a 5, bro. Like I was still intrigued with watching it because it was my first time watching it, and there was a couple of like so ridiculous it's funny parts in it, but other than that, I'm cool on this, and I'll probably never watch it again. If I go through this franchise again, I will skip this movie.
And you were just talking about watching through all these again, like, you know, last episode.
Yeah.
You want to go, Trey?
No, you got it, bro.
Roots, put me on the screen real quick. Well, not real quick.
Right,
I'm about to, yeah, this is something I started watching this movie this morning. You know, I watched about an hour of it or so. You know what I'm saying? I like went to sleep because I had to get up and go to work. I, you know, came home, fell asleep, woke up, finished watching this movie, right? The entire time of that second half watching this movie, I was on my phone the whole time. And I didn't give much of a fuck about nothing that was going on in here. I don't think this can be understated. Anyone that knows me, you know, has heard like me say on a few of these podcasts, I watched through last year the new Halloween trilogy and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one was a good movie, I think. It was a good movie, like, altogether. The second movie was an okay movie with a fucking fantastic ending. The third movie, I have often said, is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And I think that it needs to be said that this right here belongs in that conversation. This is one of the worst movies I've seen in my entire life. Because it is one thing to make an objectively shit movie, you know, like as a standalone property and whatnot. You know, you can make like a shitty ass movie and I'm like, okay, bro, I'm just never watching this shit again. To make some shit like this so fucking garbage that it is a part of like an anthology of two good to great and amazing movies thus far is the actual slap in the face, because you have ruined everything that was good about the last movie. You took the feel-good ending of her getting the daughter and all this. You killed all these motherfuckers. So there was absolutely no point in that. The aliens are still alive, so there was no point in killing the Queen Xenomorph. You took away all the cool alien abilities and made it run around like a fucking retard the whole movie. Just a whole bunch of computer-animated bullshit hobbling lemur movements. You took Ellen Ripley and made her a cowering, quivering bitch 90% of this fucking movie. She's absolutely pathetic and not the bad bitch that she was the last two times. And you just made her a disgusting, bald fucking scallywag just so nobody would even think that she was a bad bitch of any kind. You gave me 5 bald Nazis and a black guy who's trying to pretend to be Lawrence Fishburne, the Muslim reformed rapist and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is an absolutely pathetic movie. I cannot give a single, like, I'll give it 1 point because Sigourney Weaver, even when given dog shit things to work with, can still deliver a good performance. And because the idea of the alien itself, regardless of your depiction, is still pretty cool. You took away a lot of what made it good, but at least it is still a fucking alien. I give this movie a 2 out of 10, and I will probably never watch this piece of shit again. The last movie took 2.5 hours, and that was the one thing I could say bad about it. This movie lasted 2.5 hours, and it was an absolute, just abhorrent waste of my time. I grant you no positive points, and may God have mercy on your soul, David Fincher.
All right. Shit. I would just like people to know that I literally left what I think was halfway through to go say goodnight to my daughter, came back, and he was still shitting on this movie. So yeah.
Movie fucking sucks, dog. I love the last movie so much, and they just ruined everything, bro. Like, that's pathetic, man.
Go ahead, Trey.
Fuck! I that fucked over. What the fuck was that?
Go ahead, bro.
He's so enraged, bro.
This nigga's ridiculous.
Go ahead, bro.
So the reason that I said I wanted to kind of wait till I got to the end to say this part essentially was because like I was so curious as to what the fall off from this movie was based on, because I agree with a lot of the things that KTL expressed, is that you followed up essentially two borderline flawless movies with what is essentially a failure across the board in almost every way, right? So what contributed to that? Like there has to be something, especially when you think about it. It took 6 years, so it's not like you rushed this one out, you know? And it's a myriad of things, right? They were hiring and firing writers and directors left and right. Maybe Sigourney Weaver would participate, maybe she wouldn't. She wanted certain things that some people wouldn't abide by. This director wanted to do this writer wanted to do that. I mean, literally, I want to say 5 or 6 different writers were involved, 4 different directors were involved by the time they got to Finch. So it's like, it makes sense that the quality was diminished because they weren't on the same page for very long. And then I think Fox Studios, whoever put this shit out, got tired of the back and forth between everybody that was supposed to have a hand in it. And they just put out a trailer essentially saying like, hey, we're dropping a movie in 92, right? Which kind of doubled down the pressure for the people who are actually responsible, because now the clock is ticking, right? And they're not prepared, they're not organized, and it showed up on screen because we got what felt like a rushed product, right? So now when you think about like all of those different things, and I'm not going to go into details about everything they were asking, but I do think if you two are interested, I'll send y'all the YouTube link to just kind of dive into it, because it is informative into the world of, again, why this movie is such a letdown in comparison to what I assume or what I consider two rather very excellent done movies.
I read about a little bit of that shit online, Trey, where like apparently, like I want to say in 2003 or some shit, they released like a different version of this movie, some type of like cut, and it was like far better received. But I won't be watching it. Like,
yeah, I'm not interested enough. Like this movie, even though it is bad, it's actually so far from being redeemable that I don't care what the fixes are.
The good version looks like.
Yeah. Like even if you fix it, I don't think it's beyond repair to the point of it being valuable enough to rewatch any version of, right? So I would say that for positives, I'm glad that the Ripley saga is over. I think that she was a really good character. I think she's one of the better written characters in cinema history, as far as I'm concerned, while being a bit diminished in her last outing. Still one of the better written characters. Again, I just appreciate the fact that she had common sense, right? That's not something we see a lot of times in movies, especially horror movies, and especially not from the main character, right? It's always some side character that has to kind of think us through or kind of like guide us on an Easter egg or some type of shit. The main character actually being the one that thinks things through, I appreciate. Aside from that, the jumping into like the CGI alien was ass. The storyline was really uneventful, not very memorable. One of Sigourney Weaver's caveats to being a part of this movie was that it wouldn't be any guns. So she didn't want it to be another action movie like the second one was. But it was just like, it was a letdown, right? And this is kind of an example of why it's okay to stop. Like everything doesn't need a sequel or like another one. Like you could have stopped at Alien 2. You said what, bro?
I say a trilogy isn't always necessary.
A trilogy is not always necessary, but it's also it would have been perfect. But it's also when you see so much success in consecutive releases, you have to kind of try your luck, right? Because at this point you've built a fan base and people are asking, right? Like we weren't alive in 92 to know, but I'm sure people were asking the same way like we ask about, you know, sequels and trilogies to movies that we are watching right now. Like, nigga, if they would have stopped at Avengers Ultron, I'd have a problem. Like, put out the third one, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I can understand like what the momentum must have felt like, what the environment must have been like when those movies were actually out and popping. But it did not age very well. It did not tell a very good story. It did not capitalize on any of the things that made the first two movies so successful.
They tried to gore their way through this bitch, bro. Like that's what it boiled down to.
Which may have been a thing in '92, but not very good in this movie. And I'm also with you in the sentiment of I was disinterested about halfway through, and I kind of watched it because I had to. If I didn't have to do a review on it, I would have turned it off. With that being said, I'm gonna go 4 out of 10 only because what is redeemable is her character and the fact that it is expanding upon a really good storyline. It just did a very terrible job of doing it. None of the characters were meaningful like they were in the past movies. So yeah, 4 out of 10 for me.
With that being said, final score is a 3.6, man. By far the worst.
From a 9 point something
9.3.
last movie.
9.3.
We dropped almost 6 entire points.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's ever happened. Like none of the Saw movies had that big of a jump.
Nope. Even and so I noticed the
Deadpool,
the deterioration of y'all's patience with watching the movies and how a majority of the movies, from what it seemed like from watching the reviews, they all stayed around the same line of
it was formulaic.
Yeah.
But
well, here's the thing, right? None of the Saw movies were 10s though, right? So like the ceilings were not as high. It just happens that the floors were also not as low.
I want to say the highest overall scores the Saw movies got were probably like the first or the second one.
Right. And also by Saw 3, we did not have like viewer fatigue yet, right? Like there was no viewer fatigue by Saw 3. Like I'm not tired of the Alien series. I was tired of this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like it was slow. It just wasn't as interesting.
None of these followed the same formula either. Like
like the second one, like if you just like the moment the second one pops off, it's like, damn, we 56 years in the future. That's crazy. And it's like, and then
I will go watch. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trey.
No, I was just saying. And then like we're already on the planet, and the xenomorphs are already getting jiggy. Like, okay, great. Like this shit was ass, but that is what it is.
I'll go watch the second Alien movie 10 times before I ever go watch this, and 10 is being generous. Like that shit, and I'm talking about like in a row. Like, I don't know, man. Anything else, Roots?
Nope. Yeah.
Next up, we got Alien Resurrection. I wonder how they're going to resurrect the aliens.
You think aliens?
Oh, hey, would you look at that? Sigourney Weaver, Trey.
Sigourney Weaver's in the fourth one?
Look at the poster on the screen.
That is ass.
The plot armor is crazy.
Listen. I watched that bald head bitch jump into a burning furnace with a queen alien bursting from her fucking abdomen.
Yep.
If she is nothing more, if she's anything more than a fucking hallucination in this movie, it gets a 3 at best. I swear. Look, listen to me. I stamped this right now. I swear to God, if this isn't some type of like going back to tell her story prior to, if she's alive in Alien 4, I'm going to be pissed. I swear to God, I'm gonna talk so much shit. It's gonna be ridiculous. Y'all are gonna hate me next episode. If I watch this fucking movie and she's not some reference character, oh my God, not she can't be a fucking reference character. She's on the cover.
She's on the left.
My God.
Like
this bitch.
Listen. Like I said, I've never seen all of these movies all the way through. I've
never seen any of them.
None of them.
I've never seen
any of them.
I know for a fact how she comes back, and it definitely might be ass.
How the fuck do you know that?
It definitely might be, because I saw it in bits and pieces. Unless I saw the beginning of something else, I'm almost certain, given the name of this one, I'm pretty sure I know how she come back.
I have an idea myself, and I don't think it's ass, but I think it would just be like cashing in on a fucking, somebody. We need her. Like,
Listen,
Well, hey
listen,
Trey.
listen.
So what were you saying
I
about the end of
watched.
the Ripley saga? What was
It
you were
might
saying
be
a
it might be
second
the end of the
ago?
Trey saga. I ain't gonna hold you. So actually, I'm not gonna do Alien 3 like this. But if that bitch is alive in Alien 4, I'm coming back and dropping my rating on this one to a 2 because she's supposed. Her being dead is a part why this isn't a 2 already. Like I appreciate that it's over and we can get to some new shit. If we're still telling the story of this bald-headed queen chest bitch, I am going to lose.
You must have forgot about Detective Hoffman, huh? Like
Oh fuck.
this shit.
Man,
Well, I'll
but
see the same
at
motherfucker for
least
6 movies, bro.
at least the viewers never thought he was dead though. Like we knew what was going on with him. Like they thought he was dead, or they thought it was some other shit. We
They had
knew
a
better.
whole send
As a viewer, I am 100% sure I watched that bitch jump into a furnace with an alien exploding from her chest. An
in
alien
slow motion.
exploding
Right?
from her chest that has killed everybody whose chest it exploded from the moment it happens. Everybody
alive
died.
long enough to look at the bitch and grab it.
God, bro.
She wasn't alive long enough to survive a fucking suicide dive into a furnace of hell.
I'm about to say
That was
she
weird
finna be
right
alive.
there.
She finna be alive again in like 2 days whenever we do the next episode.
Nah, this is
I'm probably
hilarious.
gonna watch. That shit is sick. Somebody's sick as hell. This is the sickest shit I ever seen.
You ain't
This
even
shit is
seen it
filthy.
yet.
It's that oh my god. Hey, sign this shit out, dude. This shit. This shit is terrible.
Episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast. Another crash course. Aliens 3. It's ass. If you like watching terrible shit,
Fucking
don't watch
god.
it. If you have a brain, don't watch this movie at all.
If you disagree,
Like
tell
Alien
us about
4
it in the comments.
for the review when we do Alien 4 in a couple of
This
days.
is the
Y'all
shittiest
watch
shit
Trey
I've ever
crash out
seen.
next, like 2 days from now
Oh
or
my
some shit.
god. We're not getting through this next one. I'm gonna fucking ruin this next one.
I was trying not to ruin this one, but I had.
Oh my god. Why is that bitch alive?
Bro, I watched this movie and just kept finding different things that I hated about it. Like,
Imagine being alive in '96 and finding out that they putting that bitch in another movie. Like,
I was alive in '96.
I'm saying, and you forget, remember the second part, like actually thinking like, oh shit, they dropping the Alien 4. Sigourney Weaver's in this one too. Oh my fucking god.
What about Winona Ryder? You didn't say nothing
Who
about
is that?
We don't know who Winona Ryder is.
Who the fuck is Winona